So, hello everybody, thanks for coming. Today I'm going to talk about how we implemented transactional emails in Sitecore Send, in Sitecore DXP overall, with XM Cloud, Sitecore Send, and Other Cloud. So, a few words about myself. I'm Igor Zharikov, Sitecore Technology MVP 2 times, Sitecore developer working at Brimit. And you can reach me on those social medias, so feel free. And here is agenda of today's presentation. I will start with some introduction about infrastructure we have, about transactional emails. Then we will review implementation, talk about issues, challenges we had, and how we overcome them. Also, I will show you how it all working together, and I will try to answer all your questions. So let's start with the introduction. First, we need to define transactional email. I hope you all know what is it, but nevertheless, it's one-to-one email that contains information that completes a transactional process that recipient has started with you. So customer performs some action on the website and you notify user about it by sending email. A few examples of transactional emails: user registration, password reset, order confirmation, and so on. I think all of that emails you can just find on any website. Some key concepts and features of transactional emails. So transactional emails are unique for each user and each situation. It's not like kind of marketing emails. According to GDPR, to send those emails, you cannot request consent from users, so you can just, as user committed some action on your website, you can just notify, and it's legal. But in comparison, for marketing emails, you should get the consent from users. Transactional emails are crucial for users to feel safely. So basically, when you complete any order on any website, you expect that you will get the order confirmation email. So you should consider and keep deliverability percent very high. It's kind of from other point you can send the mail, but you should also think and keep about to ensure basically that this email will come to inbox folder rather than spam. You should configure all those records for your domain to ensure that your email won't be classified as spam. So it's important. It's must have. And as it is important for users, monitor it in case of any failures. Just log errors, exceptions, and monitor it. So in current presentation, I will use a few Sitecore DXP products and other cloud services, so I will just briefly go through them. So our site is built on top of XM Cloud. It's basically Sitecore in the cloud, deployment platform for developers, marketers, and so on. So another thing we use is Order Cloud. It's also coming from Sitecore. It's e-commerce platform. It's flexible e-commerce API first platform. So we store products, users, and orders there. For emails, we use Sitecore Send. So it's an email automation platform, and we send in transactional emails using it. For any integrations between those cloud services, sometimes we need to implement our own services and deploy it somewhere, so we use Microsoft Azure for it. In our solution, we use app services, functions, and queues topics, and so on, service buses, and a few other services. And also for the front end, we use Vercel, which is front end in a cloud product. So it supports not only basically deploying the front end, but as well overall it's a cloud platform for static sites and serverless functions, offering features such as global CDN, custom domains, and automatic HTTPS. Before we'll talk about implementation for transactional emails, let's also review what we have for our client, for our solution. So we started with multiple sites for single brand company, and now there are 3 brands managed in a single XM Cloud instance, and it's possible that we add more. So basically each brand has unique design, some unique commerce specific entities, and so it's the same company but just different branding. Then under each brand it can be each brand may contain multiple countries and multiple sites for under each brand. So basically it's one-to-one definition between country and site. So it can be multiple brands. Under each brand you have may have multiple sites. Each site means country, and for each site we may have multiple languages. So in terms of Sitecore, how it all looks together, brand is site folder, site or country is a site, and on the right side we can have multiple languages for single site. Yeah, and forgot to mention that all that we need to evaluate to when we send an email, because customer needs to get an email for the correct brand, for the correct site, and in the correct language, just to not confuse our customers. So if we take a look on the existing architecture, so our front-end application deployed to Vercel, it requests layout data, data sources, everything that's needed from Experience Edge from XM Cloud. For commerce communications, Vercel makes some direct calls to Order Cloud. So for example, if we need something which Order Cloud API provides, like authentication by email or getting shopping cart details, getting order details, so frontend just directly calls Order Cloud. Then if we need some custom integrations or integration with third-party services, we created our custom web service integration middleware. Is deployed into Azure, and so frontend may call it, and then integration middleware may call Order Cloud or any other service. And for server-side integrations, we use another service where frontend doesn't make any calls, but something like webhook or some payment integration, delivery integration, shipping integrations are all implemented there. So it's high-level architecture of the existing solution, and now we need somewhere to add Sitecore Send here to send transactional emails. So let's review the implementation. Firstly, we need to understand how to send transactional emails in Sitecore Send. I will start with a new approach. I didn't test it yet because it was released 1 week ago, so it's quite a new feature from Sitecore and Musent. Now you can configure. Now they have separated campaign type, transactional campaigns. You can configure, create new campaign in Sitecore and then a trigger send using API. Now it comes with multiple design options. You can, in this API call, when you send an email, you can provide raw HTML, basically the same as using SMTP send, template URL, so Sitecore will download it and send it to user, or you can design template in Sitecore. Previously, there were no option to define templates for transactional emails with some dynamic data placeholders and so on. You was able to create templates for specific campaigns, but they were just static campaigns, so you should populate all the texts already, all the images. There were no option to get your custom model in JSON and kind of render some specific email for some specific action, but now it is an option. But it is a downside as well, because this new feature is only available in Musent Plus plan. In free trial, you even don't have SMTP, but you may have it for a fixed price for the second plan. But this transactional emails feature is not available, so you should use Musent Plus. And yeah, a bit more details how it should all work, how it's expected to work. So I just brought those screenshots from Sitecore site. Basically, you need to create transactional campaign, and then you use some tokens. So basically, here is then you here define these tokens for some dynamic data, and then you use API to perform send. So you specify here to whom you should send, then template ID, so basically the campaign ID, and here in substitutions you provide some custom values for tokens. Unfortunately, there was no information in the documentation how to handle some more complex objects like lists or just some custom documents. I hope I will be able to solve some licensing issues with plans and so on and try it. But for now, we can just guess that and hope that it's supported. But back in the days when we started to implement it, it was suggested to use SMTP to send transactional emails. So in Sitecore, you can enable it in your account details. Also connection details are listed there. And sending email using SMTP is quite easy, trivial task. You can easily Google it quickly in any programming language. It's not rocket science. I will just focus on some Sitecore specific things with sending email by SMTP. So it's still tracked. You are able to track link clicks in your emails, even if they sent using SMTP, and opens as well. All SMTP email recipients are added to default transactional campaign recipient list, or you have an option as well to specify in the SMTP request some custom headers and specify this list there, custom list. The same thing with the campaign. It is default campaign where all this information is tracked, like link clicks, opens, and so on. And the biggest downside that you need to prepare template by yourself, because when you need to send email using SMTP, you need a raw email ready to use email HTML, and you need to put it to SMTP server. So now we have knowing all this information, we have a few questions still. So where to send it from, and how to prepare the template, because again, at the time of the implementation, there were no this transactional campaign feature, and we need somehow to render the template. So let's review how we can answer those questions. Yeah, as transactional emails are usually connected to e-commerce, as it's order submit or new user registration, and users are connected to e-commerce platform, we need to find some integration points in our e-commerce platform, which is Order Cloud. And the first option it provides are webhooks. So you can, in the Order Cloud comes with, it's called portal, Order Cloud portal, and you enabled to manage basically everything there. You can create a new webhook, specify, select resource, and specify any API call. You can select one or multiple API calls here for a single webhook. It is also an option which is called pre-hook. So usually webhook is executed after API call, but pre-hook is executed before, and depends on the result. If you basically have a control over execution of API. So if you return proceed false, then API call won't be triggered. So usually it's used for validation. And yeah, the nice thing is that everything can be done in enhanced UI. So there are two options in Order Cloud portal. You can use this enhanced UI and click everything, or it is an option to switch there and use it like in Postman style, where you make API request. So for webhooks, everything can be done in enhanced UI, and that's really cool. And Order Cloud comes with some second integration way. It is message senders, and let me just read the definition for message senders. It's a feature that helps to deliver event-driven notifications based on certain key commerce activities. Order Cloud defines activities which could be things like order submitted, order shipped, forgot password, etc., and leaves it open to developer to decide the presentation and notification format. So basically this definition really intersects with the definition for transactional email. It's some notification based on some action from user. So this is the scene which is basically designed for transactional email or other types of notification. So if we wanted to compare it with webhooks, for webhooks we can subscribe on any API call made in the Order Cloud. But here we have only defined event types, but still I think this list is more than enough, because I mean here all required order operations, all required users operations like order submitted, new user registration, forgot password, and so on and so on. So in most cases this list should be enough. If it's not enough, you can always use webhooks or some custom another integration points. It has out-of-the-box integration with Mandrill, and Mandrill is email platform, and yeah, but it's a bit strange because it's Sitecore both Sitecore products. I mean Sitecore Send and Order Cloud, but there is no integration between them. unfortunately, it's only integration with Mandrill. And for Sitecore Send, we need to implement custom integration. So, yeah, we can basically create our custom handler, which will be configured here in the message sender, and yeah, there we will handle the notification and somehow send the email. And in comparison also to webhooks, almost everything here can be configured in Enhanced UI, but some things still need to be done with API calls. So, for example, assigning message sender with, in terms of other cloud, it's called buyers, but basically it brands. So if you have multiple brands and you want to connect message sender with brands, you should do this connection with API call, and you need to do it manually. But if just try to summarize what is message senders and what it can be used for, it's kind of webhooks but designed for notifications. And now we have at least an answer for the first question, where we will send email from. We will configure a custom endpoint and use it in the message sender. And the second question was how to render email. And we decided to store email template in Sitecore XM Cloud as any other page. So that means that template will be rendered in rendering host, Vercel in our case, but it's only a template with some tokens and so on. It's not a final email for user for specific action, so we used Vercel serverless function, which is deployed there into Vercel, and it basically renders email for specific user for specific situation. I will show how it all works later. So, yeah, just to show you how it looks like from Sitecore perspective. So, the page is accessible. Email template is accessible as any other page, but as you can see, it's only with some placeholders with tokens, no dynamic content. The page is also editable in Page Editor, so it's new editor, something like Experience Editor, but quicker and designed for cloud. And email page can also be opened in Content Editor, so editors basically can manage this page as any other. And here is the serverless function, which was again deployed to Vercel. It's from the front end. So here is an example of executing this function to render order submit email for specific user for specific order. So again, previously here on the left side is just a template, but we can't just send it. We need some dynamic content there. So so calling this function is like calling just post request. We use the same endpoint where our front end is available. And then in the request, we need to specify path to template page. We should specify language, so we support multiple languages. Base or the cloud API URL. So here it's West Europe sandbox, but it also can be production environment, so it depends on environment. It's front-end authentication token, just to check that only authorized services can make the request. And then in the data object, we store or we send some user-specific information and, for example, case-specific information. So in this case, we need to render email for user, so we specify user authentication token, and as we render auto submit email, we need to specify auto ID as well. And in the response, we just get ready to use email HTML, which we can use in SMTP call. And also we have some information coming from this endpoint within headers. So here it is base64 encoded email subject, because because content editors are able to manage it directly in Sitecore. So here it's encoded, also because we support multi-language, and it is some limitation on special symbols in headers, so we had to use base64 here. So here not at all, but how the rendering works. So we get the notification from message sender, and somewhere in our solution, then we request this endpoint, this serverless function, to get the email front-end requests, as well as for any other page, some layout data to render the page. Also, it renders the layout, populates it with some dynamic content, replaces the tokens, and so on, and with some metadata as well. And then we send the mail to a customer using SMTP. And here is the full solution, including, so the previous diagram was more focused on rendering, but here is how we designed it all together. So you may remember that we had for server-side integrations, we had middleware. So we configured message sender to use this middleware endpoint. So we have the notifications there. Then we decided to use server bus and to put this, not this exact notification, but process it and put this message in the topic. Then we have an Azure function which is configured to be triggered when the new message is in the topic of service bus. And then all that logic happens. So we request the email template, render it, and send it to customer. So let's try to summarize all this solution, architecture, and so on. So let's start with the cons. I think this all infrastructure or architecture may seem a bit overcomplicated because too many services are involved. We have to use Auto Cloud, XM Cloud, Vercel, Sitecore Send, just to send a single email. So everything is involved. And the second point is that usually email is stored somewhere close to email provider. Sometimes it's an exception, but in most cases, at least email provider provides this option. But in our case, it was not available at that time. But from other side, the thing that we store it not in Sitecore Send, but in XM Cloud is also an advantage, because all the editors are familiar with content editor, with pages, with all editing tools available from Sitecore, so they don't need to learn new things, new platforms. Another thing is that it's close to the front-end solution, and all front-end services, not components exactly, because the component for page in the browser and for email are usually different, because different styling and structure is required, but still some services can be reused. It's quite easy to maintain. It relates to previous points, and it was as well easy to extend because we started with some major functions like registration, password forgot, or to submit, and then we added one by one, and it was quite easy just to add it on both front end and back end from content perspective. So it's quite good working architecture, I would say. And let's now talk as well about issues and challenges we had. So the first issue we had was, and it's always the issue with emails, that it was not in the inbox, it was in spam. So we started to analyze it, and we found out that we had in production some lorem ipsum content. We just didn't check it, so don't do it. Check content which is used at least on production. Second thing, luckily we didn't have this issue, but still also check spelling, because email clients may think that your email is dangerous just because of incorrect spelling. And the last point was a bit more tricky to find, just because for some messages we had this red warning from Gmail, and basically when you have this warning, it doesn't tell you what's exactly wrong with your message. It just seems dangerous. That's it. So I had to test, to play with it, and I found out that if your email contains those tags, I mean, if you're sending email using SMTP and in this HTML you have those tags, then you may have an issue. So just clear your email before sending, removing those tags, and it worked. Another issue was related to SPF records. So we saw that there were some issues in SPF checks. We checked it, but it was actually correctly configured for our website. So it is how it should be configured from Sitecore send perspective. You just need to allow the server, and that's it. But users on some which are using some email providers get their emails in spam. We found out that it was valid for, users get their email in spam was for Office 365 and for Google Workspace. So basically the issue was that Office 365 and Google Workspace get the email from our server and then deliver it again from their own service, and then it is their own SPF checks. So we extended it and the issue gone. Those are the tools which I used when I had to find some issues why email was in spam. So you can use those sites. You need your email or email from client as a file, as .email file. Then you can open it and then use text editor, copy and paste the content on those sites, and it will show you the headers and some issues you might have there. Another thing that we faced was just Sitecore send specific. So just a reminder that according to GDPR, for transactional emails, no consent is required. But Sitecore send adds unsubscribe link and list unsubscribe header if you send a mail even using SMTP. So for your email, it looks like this. On the downside, you have basically unsubscribe link. So you can unsubscribe from order confirmation email, from any other email, which is not good basically, because if you forgot your password, what would you do? You won't just get the email. Yeah, so user can click this link, get unsubscribed, but as you unsubscribed from default transactional campaign recipients list, and as user is unsubscribed, this user won't receive next email sent using SMTP, because Sitecore send checks. So for example, you send email to some customer, and Sitecore send checks if this email for that customer subscribed or not subscribed to this user. If it's not subscribed, then you're fine. But if it's basically it is in the list but with the status unsubscribed, then you have an issue. Sitecore send won't even send it. So there are some options to overcome it. You can include hidden unsubscribe link with this syntax. So it is just special token from Sitecore send unsubscribe link, and you can actually do it because again it's legal because you're sending transactional emails. It's not, don't do it for marketing emails because then it's bad basically, but for transactional it's fine. Then you won't have this ugly unsubscribe link, but still it will be added to header, so email client still can click this link, and then again you will have the same issues. So what we came to, that we need to ensure that user is subscribed to transactional email list using .NET API. Basically not .NET API, but just Sitecore send API. So just to check that, just to get user by email, check its status, and then if it's not subscribed, then update subscriber in this list with the correct status, and then SMTP will be sent correctly. And it seems that it fixed in the new campaigns API because they added new setting, bypass and subscribe management. So if you enable it, then it will just ignore the status in transactional campaign recipients list and just send the email. So now time for the demo. So yeah, now you can see my screen. So I will start again to show you how it will look like from user perspective. I have a user here on our site, so it's our client's dev environment for Arabian Outblend for some country and in the English language. So I already have a user here, and I go to login, and let's just imagine that I forgot my password. So I request to get password reset link. I hope I will get it. Need to wait some time. Yeah, here I have it. So yes, it was received just now. Here I just get straightly to reset password page, so I can just type new password, save it. It was saved successfully. Fine, now we can go to login page, and I was successfully logged in because here you can see the header, but I requested as well to validate my email because I just registered but didn't validate my email. So I click on the verify email, and now I'm asked for one-time code. which again I should get here. Yeah, I got it, just received it now. So yeah, so now my account and my email is verified, and I can go to products and add something to the cart and order something. So this user has all the information required already. I can just pay on delivery, confirm order. So the order was created. I'm currently on thank you page, and I hope, yeah, quite soon. So I just copied this order number and I just received the order confirmation email with all the information about the order, about addresses and so on, about pricing. I can as well go to order details page. Yeah, so all that works from user perspective. Now if we go and check how it all looks like from front end, from Sitecore perspective. So this is the page. This is this page where email template is available. It uses the same host as a site, so it's basically the same item which is managed in XM Cloud. So let's go to XM Cloud dev environment. We have multiple brands here. So in our case, for demo, I used Note and KSA. And here under home, my account, emails, I have all the emails available, and basically they're just almost the same scene as any other page. So they have presentation details, and so layout and all the renders are assigned there. Pretty standard scene. This page, this email is also editable in the page editor, so I need to wait some time. So in what you see is what you get edited. Just you can edit the page, the email. And now let's see how it all looks like in the Order Cloud portal. So I'm currently in the sandbox environment. I should scroll here to message senders. And for transactional emails, we use buyer emails. So here we use custom URL configuration type. In the general information, we have this middleware URL, which is deployed into Azure. So this message type token is replaced with templates. So for example, here for this message type, for this message sender, we configured new user invitation to trigger this notification when user is registered, and all other different things like forgot password, auto submitted, and then something for return. And with this click, I can switch between enhanced UI and to switch it to the just API call. So it's basically the same information is available here, just on the low level. In the previous view, we had just beautiful UI. Here we have JSON, and we need to create and configure message sender assignments between buyers and message sender there manually. So here it is separated endpoint for it. So we have to trigger it to make all these things work together. So also we're using service bus topics. I just reloaded the page and I hope it will be reloaded. Yeah. So we have two service bus topics. One is for user notifications and another is for order notifications. And yeah, basically our middleware just pushes messages there, and then we handle them in function app. We have, as well as we have two topics, we have two functions. So one of them is send email order notifications, and another is this one, send user notifications. So just for testing purpose, we can disable send email order notifications. So now it's disabled, and now I can submit, create a new order. So just to see what's inside this topic. So I quickly click through checkout. The new order is created, but of course I shouldn't get any message because function is currently turned off, but I should get a new message here. So I just can double check that it's the same order. So yeah, the order ID is the same, so I will just copy it and use JSON format just to show you more details, the structure of the message. So in the first scene we specify type for email. In this case it's order submit. In the body we specify some type specific information like order ID in this case, and then we have information about user and information about the storefront and language. So company ID here stands for buyer, so it's the same as a brand. Storefront in terms of order cloud is used to connect API client with site in Sitecore. So to access order cloud, you need to create API client there, and then you will use this ID in Sitecore XM Cloud settings for just for a single site. So it's one-to-one relationship between client, API client, and site in Sitecore. So when we get this information in Azure's function, we know for which brand we should send the message. We know for which site, and we also have the language. So we have basically all the information required, and of course for which user and which type of email, for which order in this case, and so on. So let me just copy these IDs. So this is the email I use for my user with +def04, and I have in the Postman the collection all the requests available. I already specified and configured login for my user with the same def04 email, and now I just wanted to render email for this user. Let me just quickly go back and turn on the function. So while I will show you in Postman, the function should start, and I hope that we will be able to receive a mail as well. So here is the call for this serverless function or for endpoint, which renders the template, which is again available here, and it's uses all this information to render this email. And I hope in a few seconds or minutes I should receive this email. And as well as I showed to you, we have mail subject included here. We can decode it, and it's auto submit with some token which is replaced in the function. So I think now the function is up and running. Yeah, and I just got the email for the new order, which has on the 3. So yeah, the same email just received to my mailbox. So basically, with this approach with service bus topic, we can, if we have any issues, first of all, we can just stop the function and turn it on later, fix those issues, and all the messages which are in the service bus topic will be just handled a bit later, but still will be handled. And if we have some issues with processing it, we have that later, and we can always check it. So yeah, let me switch back to extent. So that's it for the demo, and in the end I just wanted to mention those two things. When I worked on this project, I used a lot Sitecore Center API and decided just to create some single space where I can collect information about how to call, how to deal with this API. So I have a Git repo for it where Postman collection is available, also Open API or Swagger specification as well. And also I wrote NuGet client, or not NuGet client, but .NET client, which I published to NuGet. So if you just plan to use it, to use Sitecore Cent, or just want to play with it, feel free to use it. And thank